everyone. Today we're going to talk about the difference between procrastination and wisdom and when to know if you are operating from a place of procrastination and perfectionism or when you're operating from a place of excellence and wisdom. And sometimes when we're in the middle of it, can be really hard to make this decision or to understand really what's what because our brain can trick us a lot of times and sometimes our brain is right on. So like what do we believe? And I understand this very, very deeply. One of the first things that I think about is just running those decisions by a mentor who's not emotionally in the middle of it for a second set of eyes basically on the problem of am I procrastinating or is it wisdom? One of my problems, though, I'm very, very good at convincing myself and other people that it is wisdom as opposed to what I would call creative avoidance, which I think is more of what's happening usually than actual real procrastination. This came up in a coaching call this week where I asked a client if they were ready. They said they're ready to go with their ads. They're just going to wait 2 weeks because their Facebook group doesn't have a lot of content in it. And I was like, oh, let's explore that later if we have time because it might be creative procrastination. Would you be open to that? And she just giggled and was like, yeah, I'm totally open to that. And then we ran out of time. So I'm making this video for her. If you are a client, I'm going to talk to you like a client. This will be familiar for you. If you're not a client of ours, I'm going to talk to you on this podcast or video, or however you're consuming it, as if you are a client. So it's going to be pretty straight up and direct. This is exactly how we work with our clients inside our coaching program. And sometimes the coaching is very technical, like say this, do this, press this button here, use this template, stuff like that. And then sometimes it's this stuff, right? Is the decision to postpone running the Facebook ads due to wisdom or procrastination. So here's how I would look at this. The decisions that I make that help me to take action is they're guided by this one principle. If this would help at least one person in my audience, I must publish it. If we're using the framework of will this help at least one person in the audience, will I do it or should I publish it? This question of Facebook ads would be yes, because this client is going to advertise a very cool freebie that's going to help people with their problems and they'll be able to get it and they'll download it today. And so it will make a positive impact on at least one person. So we would publish the ad because it's in service to the target market. So whenever like, should I post this? Should I not post this? Which an ad is just an amplified version of that. The answer that question is, will this be helpful to at least one person? If the answer is yes, we do it. So if the question is post it or not to post it, well, if you're new at it, if you're like, I'm rereading this, it doesn't really sit well with me. And so I want to run it by my coach so that I can learn and then I'll send it. I would not consider that procrastination or creative avoidance at all. That would fall in the wisdom category, which leads me to the next part of the framework of is this creative procrastination? The second is what's my timeline for getting ready? Another client put on her accountability sheet this week. I think I'm in a space of getting ready to get ready. I think I should take on a few free clients before I officially launch my business. So we were trying to figure out, is that creative avoidance or is that wisdom? Well, I would put that in the creative avoidance category based on this next question that I've asked to suss out creative avoidance, which is what's the timeline for ready? If it's more than one day, it's probably, and you've already made a decision, then it's actually creative procrastination. And the other part of this is this an actual prerequisite or is this a prerequisite we made up to protect our ego or to not fail or anything like that? And so in the case of if I want to launch a Facebook ad and I'm like, I can't launch the Facebook ad until my welcome email is set up. Well, that is actually an obstacle to the project because when you have to be able to deliver the resource you're advertising to. But you do not have to take on practice clients before you start creating content in your space as a new coach. So what I would say to that client is I would say, well, let's research the top 100 questions that your target market asks about this problem. And then let's just start creating content on it and see what happens. Now, in the meantime, you can absolutely take on a few free clients, although I would just recommend complimentary coaching calls instead of full clients. But there's no need to not create content because you hadn't taken on clients. We can just find the top questions that people are asking. We can find those online. You don't even need AI to do it, but with AI, you just be like, what are the top 100 questions that are currently being researched online on this topic? And then just pick a few and start creating content around them. It doesn't have to be a big thing. We just need to start speaking. My first client came in. I had 3 podcast episodes, 0 practice clients. Now, I did have a career in sales coaching and training, but specifically in coaching entrepreneurs, I had nothing there. And I just started creating cool content. And I shared that podcast with someone that I met that was a small entrepreneur in direct sales. She loved it. She wanted to hire me. It's a really, really good thing. I didn't wait to take on practice clients before I started creating content. So we just create the content. One of the people we follow, his name's Ian Stanley. He has a book on email that just literally is called Just Effing Send It. And I feel the same way about the content. The third question that I'll ask to determine if it's creative procrastination or wisdom is I'll say, if I wasn't afraid, what would I do? We want our decisions to be made from a place of power, not a place of fear. We want to make sure that fear is not the CEO of our business, but fear and anxiety, right? Sometimes anxiety really saves us. It's like, wait, there might be something over there. And there is something over there. And so fear is not necessarily always a bad thing. Often I'm right now afraid of running out of time this week. And so that fear kicks me in the butt to create this content so that I can do it quickly. So all fear is not a bad thing. But the real question is, if I wasn't afraid, what would I do? Now, if I wasn't afraid of running out of time, I would still record this video. So yes, it's a green light. Go through, do the thing. But if you're asking the question, if I wasn't afraid, what would I do? And it's in the Facebook context for the most part. Well, if I wasn't afraid of people coming into my group and being like, well, isn't this more established? Then I would just publish the ad, right? And so usually that would be the answer. And so if I wasn't afraid, what would I do? In the context of, do I need to take a bunch of free clients before I officially launch my business? If you weren't afraid, would you publish content? Probably. So let's do that. And then the fourth concept, it's not a question to ask, but it's just this principle that has served me very, very well, is you always schedule the party before you clean the house. So my birthday, at the time of this recording, my birthday is in a couple of weeks, and I'm not going to clean my house first and then invite people to the party. I'm going to invite people to the party. People are going to RSVP. And then the day before my party, I'm going to hurry up and clean the house. It's the same thing when my mom comes over. I'm not going to be like, Mom, you can never come over because my house isn't clean. I'll just be like, Mom, come over at 6. And then 5:30 to 6, I'll hurry up and clean up. I guess I'm kind of a child in that way. One of the core principles in business is that we operate in prototypes and pre-selling. We schedule things with deadlines before we're ready to push us to get ready. So if I want to run a workshop that I'm unsure that I want to run the workshop, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a title. I'm going to announce the workshop. And what that's going to do is it's going to kick me into gear. I wrote a book back in 2020, right before the pandemic. I wrote it in 6 weeks. That's kind of crazy. Like actually physically wrote it. It's like 200 pages. This is when we were coaching network marketers. And it's a real book. It's not, I'm saying this is not real, but it's not like I just had AI write the book for me. Like I actually physically, right, it's 2020. I typed every word myself, had it go through my coach and my business partner for editing. And it's really good. I'm really proud of it. Over 200 pages. And the thing that helped me to do that is we pre-sold the book. We told everyone the book would be ready March 1st or February 15th or whatever it was. And we put people on a waiting list for it. And so now that external, like, oh, people are counting on me to do the book, it kicked me in the butt to write the book. And I knew that I had to do that because the last time I released a book, it was when I was running the Christian Network Marketers community with my friend Kim Hazen. And we wanted to write a devotional. And we had been procrastinating on it. And a few weeks earlier, the launch was whatever that Monday was. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, we haven't written anything. We've sketched it, but we haven't written anything. And it was Friday morning. And I was like, do you think we're still good to go? She's like, yeah, we'll meet tomorrow. We'll work on it. I was like, okay, cool. And I went and sold 300 copies. And I went to her house that evening and I was like, good news. We sold 300. Now they were at $30 each. They were pretty cheap. We sold 300 copies. And she's like, what? We don't even have a book yet. I said, well, we better have one by the end of the weekend. And this was a 40-page book. It was a devotional, like a 10-day devotional. So it wasn't that long. And we hammered it out. And it was amazing. 5 weeks of dinking around and being unsure. When we had a deadline, it really, really moved up what we were supposed to do. Now, at the end of the day, if it wasn't done, we could have just pushed it back, right? It's not life or death. But one of the core principles of being a business owner, it's not being thorough, but it's like actually setting, putting it out there, having a deadline, having people watch you and see you so that you work harder is better than saying, once I work harder, then I'll let people see me. It's very much like, I'm not going to invite anyone to my house until I sweep. We want to do the opposite. We want to invite them over to the house, and then before they come, we sweep. And that has made us millions in our business, that philosophy. And so anytime we have a program to launch, or content to make, or even this piece of content, I just sketched it out on a little piece of paper and I said, I think this will be helpful for one person. So I'm just going to write it. I'm going to record it. It's a prototype. It's not something where I'm doing ads to, so I don't need 4 or 5 different things. I'm just going to write it. I'm going to put it out there and I'm hoping that it's going to be helpful for someone. And that behavior has served us over and over and over again because days turn into weeks, which turn into months, which turn into years. And the next thing you know, you are not where you want to be in your business. So set deadlines for yourself. Pretend that you are a great boss to yourself. And a great boss would set you a deadline and expect that you perform, and then believe in yourself the way a great boss would, and you will likely raise to it. Of course, your boss is not unreasonable. If you're like, I've been working all nighters and I wasn't able to get it done, you just be like, can I have a few days extension? And I'm sure your boss will be totally fine with that. But act as if that deadline really, really matters because it does if you are operating in service to your target market. And every single day that passes that we are not putting out valuable things that make the world better for our target market is a day lost when it comes to impact and eventually our income in our businesses. So I hope this helps you to know the difference between creative avoidance and procrastination and wisdom. Sometimes it's avoidance, sometimes it's wisdom. I want you to know the difference. I hope this was helpful for you and that you have a great day and go publish something today.